You are now listening to Take Two Podcast. All your latest TV and movie reviews, plus your Hollywood news, and of course, our Take Two. Here we go.
Episode 211 of Take Two Podcast coming at you. Brian and Tony on the mics. We are here, folks. We have been as easy to find as water on the moon that has been right there the whole time.
Wow.
Thank you for finally joining us here on our Hollywood news and reviews show. Tony, what up?
What's going on, man? I'm just finishing off a shake that I got from a new listener, Amber. So thanks for that, Amber. Keep bumbling through life. Yeah, this is going to be a busy one. A lot of stuff to talk about. I'm kind of excited. I thought it was going to be a light week, kind of.
Yourself.
Thought it was going to be a light week, but we've got 9 things to talk about today. 3 kind of moderately big releases in the film world, I guess, without theaters being open. That's the next best thing. We got a couple series that we wrapped up. We got a couple first takes, and I wrap out my Blumhouse horror project. So a lot of stuff to talk about. 9 reviews.
Shout it out loud. Shout outs first of all to new listener Wyatt. What's up, brother?
Oh, yeah.
How you doing? Also possibly new listener Amber. Hello to you as well. Listen, Patreon. All of you Patreon subscribers, we thank you very much for your contributions. We greatly appreciate that. So shouts to all of you Patreon members. There is a realm of Take Two Patreon in your feed as we speak. You can dial it back and check that out. And then for you regular folks, there's a realm of Take Two that's in your feed in the regular feed as well. Mm-hmm. So we're realm heavy right now. You go to the Patreon, boom, it's Roy. You go to your regular feed, boom, it's Roy. And then the rest of you guys who waited until now, you just have Tony and myself. So some fun stuff to listen to in all of our feeds.
Yeah, he actually scooped us on a couple things, like things that I had maybe hoped to get to watch. He already got a chance to, and he talked about one of the trailers we're going to talk about today. So good job, Roy. He's always scooping us.
That son of a gun. Well done, well done. Folks, you know the socials at Take Two Podcast. That's for Twitter. Take2podcast at gmail.com if you want to shoot us an email. If you guys are over the age of 30 and you're on the Facebook, we have 2 pages that you could jump onto. Our regular Take Two Podcast Facebook page. Then there's the Take Two Universe. That's the group page. That's better. It's more interactive. People can chit-chat together. We actually just got a new subscriber to there. Holly, thank you for jumping onto the Take Two group page. We hope you guys enjoy that there. And then, of course, Instagram. You can follow along each and every day. And we have a YouTube page. Putting a lot of our shows, a lot of our interviews, and more on that YouTube page. Please go over there, like, and subscribe there as well.
Yeah.
You ready to rock this thing out, buddy?
Yeah, I am. And just to piggyback off what you said there, I mean, I haven't said it in a few weeks, but I like to stress that we give a different experience on all those different places. If you just want your news and your trailers, you follow our regular page. If you want some more interaction, you follow the Facebook Universe page. If you want, more social videos and stories and things like that, you get on the Instagram. Everything has its own little twist to it. Like you said, we got the YouTube videos, so we try and give you different experiences everywhere, not just copy paste the same thing everywhere. So we hope you guys do enjoy that and enjoy the different levels of interactivity. And one of those things we love to do every week is the poll. So do you want to get on the poll?
And now turn your attention to the podcast for the poll results.
I do. Let's slide on down.
All right. This week, not...
Wait, I have to ask you before you start. Listeners, if you listened last week, we had the new intro music, which you just heard, to the poll. Tony knew nothing about this. I did this on a whim just to be silly. Any good? Any bad? Should I get rid of it?
I liked it, yeah. I sent you a message saying I liked it. So, yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Listeners, let us know if you like the intro to the poll announcement as well. All right, sorry.
No, and it was a good poll last week, too, because it was a really, really popular poll. This week, not quite as popular, but I was trying to, get on top of the spooky season, the Halloween stuff, and capitalize on that, get a little poll to that effect. So I asked, what's the most iconic horror villain, a slasher kind of more specifically, that subgenre, if you will, of horror movies. And I gave the 3 big ones, Michael Myers, Jason, and Freddy. And then I threw in Ghostface just as like a little nod to some of our younger listeners maybe. Maybe that's something that they grew up with and maybe means more than, some of the 70s and 80s characters. So I just wanted to see how that would play out. No surprise here, I think Michael Myers wins. That would have been my choice as well. I will say early on, he was dominating the poll, though, like over half of it. And there was a little pushback. And Freddy crept up in there. So it ended up being 36% for Michael Myers and 31% for Freddy. So it kind of got close near the end there. And I'm going to blame one person for that, and that's Ryan L. Terry, because he shared it twice to his page and to his own podcast page. And both times he was trying to sway the vote for Freddy. So he is a huge Freddy fan and tried to get his vote out. But sorry, buddy, it didn't quite get there for you. Michael Myers is our champ. We did get a little interactivity on the Insta as well. Remakes, reboots, and revivals podcast. And Chris, regular listen Chris, I feel like he hasn't reached out in a while, so welcome back, Chris. They both shouted out Michael Myers. Listener Will shouted out Jason, and then Sam and Craig both shouted out Freddie. So we kind of got a little bit of everything on the Insta there. But yeah, what would you have voted for? I'm assuming Michael Myers as well.
Yeah, it was tough. I wanted to throw Ghostface some love just because I figured they would lose and just wanted to get a little percentage there. But then I was like, no, let me vote how I would vote. And I went with Michael Myers. So I'm thinking Freddie probably called up while Mike was sleeping.
Maybe that's what it was. Or like taking a bath. Maybe he just stuck his claw up, out of the bath water.
1, 2, Freddie's catching up to you. Ryan Alteri, I have to say this, man. I love that you did what you did. I love that you double shared it. I love that you tried to sway the vote. Pull in as much interaction as you can, folks. Feel free to do that every single week.
And Ryan, I'm going to shout him out again. He is always on top of sharing all of our stuff. So thank you. Every week, every time we post anything, he's right on top of it. So thank you. One of our top fans, I'd say.
Woot. Who did you vote for?
I voted Michael. Michael's always number one in my heart.
Did you?
Yeah, it's one of the first. Sure. I've talked about it numerous times on here. One of the first horror movies I really got into and identified with the character. It is maybe kind of silly to look back on it now from the 70s angle, and he walks slow. So what are you so scared of? That's. But I don't know. I've always loved the character. I love those movies. I think for the franchise as a whole, being like 10 movies or whatever it is, I think you have the most good versions of Halloween than you do of the other movies, in my opinion. So,
Was it H2O when he lowered himself down from the rafter?
Yeah,
with
that's a sick workout, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that too. I would have just fallen. Gotcha. Folks, those polls are up every single Thursday. You can vote all the way through the weekend. Most polls are like a one-day thing. Nope, not ours. You can ride that thing for 3 straight days. Jump on there, vote, and share. Get everybody to sway the vote in your direction. I don't mind that one bit at all. All right, 9 reviews. Let's get rocking and rolling with another scary movie, and that was Borat Part 2.
Yeah, Shamash, my name is Borat. Welcome to my subsequent movie film. What did you think about Borat 2? We haven't actually talked. I saw some of your tweeting, and I think you were very leery going into it, is what I was getting.
Yes.
So what did you think overall, the Borat subsequent movie film?
This one, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I saw some folks out there putting it as their top 5 movie of the year. Let's pump those brakes. I think he was smart enough to realize that, the problem with, I'll give the example of Hangover to Hangover 2. Hangover 2 and then especially Hangover 3 weren't as great as the first one because the whole shock humor value was gone. And obviously that's what Borat 1 got you with, all that shock humor. So I felt that he kind of recognized that and obviously went a very political angle and then tried to give this film a little more heart than the last one had. And that's what kind of worked for me. I actually enjoyed that. I did not enjoy the Moonblood dance as much as some other people, but hey, it was funny for some folks. But yeah, many of the one-liners, I thought the baby abortion was hilarious. I thought it was very well written, very smart of how they got to that angle to get in that situation, have him have the cupcake and he can't have it, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was very smart. So it's funny for me to come out and saying I felt the Borat movie was smart, but I actually did. I thought it was very smartly written and I enjoyed it.
No, I'm on your same bandwagon there. I really liked the original when I saw it back 14 years ago, whatever, but it was one of those movies and I actually own it because I was like, oh man, that was brilliant. It was a great movie. But I don't think I've ever watched it again. And I never really felt like I needed to watch it again. So that was kind of dumb on my part. Once you get that initial watch out of the way, it's like, whatever. But, and I was leery going into this when they said they were making another one. I was like, I don't know. But it was smart. Like you said, the way they did it, how they had him not really even being the focus of the movie, or sometimes he was in, a disguise even as Borat, which worked into the narrative of it. And I think that's why I actually am going to say this is a better film than the first one, in my opinion, because of that, because they went with a little bit more of like a narrative structure than the first one. The first one was much more just like you said, those encounters and getting crazy stuff on tape. This actually kind of had like a story they were trying to follow, and like you said, giving it heart and introducing his character, or this character of his daughter, played by Maria Bakalova. Remember that name, folks, because she was burst on the scene with this movie. I think she's gonna be all over the place. Yeah, she stole the movie from him, which is hard to do. Hasn't really done much before. So I think she's going to be doing a lot after this. She actually hit number 1 on the IMDb star meter this week. just based on this movie,
Nice.
which like that never happens. So amazing, good job for her. I hope she has a lot of great stuff coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
Like you said before, I mean, you already said everything. Making it current and sticking with the political angle, I think was smart. Focusing on COVID, I thought that was a pretty smart little twist. I guess spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it yet and don't want to listen to this part, but that whole Usual Suspects kind of ending that they did with the COVID thing, I thought that was hilarious and very, very funny. Michael Pennis, I thought that was pretty funny. I will say the playing up of Rudy Giuliani, that may have, to me, been taken out of context a little bit. I didn't see it as cut and dry as maybe the news was trying to report it. I don't know about you. What did you think?
I'll be honest. I thought he was tucking in his shirt.
Well, and that's what he came out and said. But they were trying to play it on the news like he was, sticking his hand on his pants, whatever. I don't know. I think they're reading into that a little bit. So
I think if it went 5 more minutes, he was
maybe so. But overall, Borat subsequent movie film. Definitely go check it out. It's on Prime, especially if you were a fan of the first one, or even if you've never seen Borat. It doesn't matter. Like you could pick up this one without seeing the first one. It really doesn't matter. And big shout out to Maria Bakalova. Like I said, I hope to see her and hear her name more often.
Very nice.
Yes. Now that's the worst part about this, though, is now that's coming back. Like I feel like that had gone away. Like I still kind of do like my wife every once in a while, but I thought it had kind of gone away. Now we're going to get this all resurgence again for another 10 years. So
did you think when he dressed up like a hillbilly with the beard or whatever, which was also brilliant too? Like he had to dress up as Borat as disguise,
double costumed. Yeah.
Right. I thought he looked like Andy Samberg.
I guess I can see that.
I don't know. A couple times I was like, well, that's weird. He looks like Andy Samberg.
But how ridiculous also at the same time are these movies and these situations he gets in where it really does show some true sides to people, and it's kind of disgusting in that way. Just like step back of the movie. Like you may be laughing at the situations, but to think that some of these things really do exist and people think that way and act that way in our country is kind of sad. So
sure.
It definitely shines a light on, like I said, a current, situation. And I think I sent you that video where he was talking about why he decided to come back to it. And, he has well-intention, behind it, I think. So
yeah. I had actually already seen that video and I didn't, that pet peeve of when someone said you something you already saw and you just respond with, oh, I saw this. I didn't want to say that to you. But yes, absolutely brilliant. We should throw that on, retweet that onto our socials so people can see it. But I also want to just quickly shout out the black woman.
Oh yeah.
Who, these aren't actors. So the black woman, she was just a breath of like light, of sunshine, like her honesty. And then her kind of like, I need to hang on. This woman is not being educated properly. And you could see the look on her face of just like, I need to say the right things here.
Sure.
Ooh, but her dad is telling like, and I just thought she was beautiful. And I also felt the fax machine.
Yeah, I was going to say the fax guy I thought was kind of, kind of pure hearted. So yeah, it is good to see like some people out there weren't just total assholes.
Right. So good. I agree with you, man. Anybody that's on the fence or even negative, I came very close to not. No, I'll be honest. I was not going to watch this. And then I saw people literally putting it in their top 5. So I was like, oh my God. All right.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go that far. And again, part of that's for me is just because of rewatchability. I don't know if I might sit down and watch this again, like get my wife to watch it or whatever. But I don't know if this is one that's going to these kind of movies don't live on where I'm rewatching over and over, but pretty smart, pretty well done. I will give him his props.
Sometimes movies are really good, and then years and years and years later, they have to then just remake them. And that's what we got with our next review, and that is of Rebecca.
Yeah, and I'm going to just take the stance right away that this was unnecessary, which is a shame. However, I will say, I've seen some people really bashing this movie, and I don't think it's that bad. I give Ben Wheatley, the director, credit for trying to remake a Best Picture from 1940 directed by Alfred Hitchcock. Like, those are things you shouldn't touch. You shouldn't try and remake Hitchcock. You shouldn't remake Best Pictures even. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
for even going down this road and trying to tackle this, and he was trying to do it a little bit more than Hitchcock did as well. So there's slight differences between the original and this one, whatever. So it was unnecessary. So he's already at a disadvantage, and I guess that's why people are being so harsh to it. But I didn't think it was that bad. It's fine. It's beautiful to look at, that's for sure. So that's one advantage of his.
Yes, Army Hammer is.
Well, and just the way he filmed it, and the advantage of it now being
sure
in color as opposed to being black and white and things like that. I think that added like an extra pop to the film, and that's one of the things I'll shout out all day is the costuming, the production design, the cinematography, I think those things were really well done in this film. Performances, Armie Hammer, fine. It didn't do much for me. I did enjoy the accent. I thought he did a good job with it. Lily James, I think she plays these kind of parts well because she is pretty enough. She's a pretty woman, but she's not like stunning, gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like you believe her as this kind of like every woman that could fall into this position, you know? But of course, the best of the movie was Kristen Scott Thomas. Her version of Miss Danvers was great, and it is akin to the original. Sure. So I think if anything comes out of this movie, it would be those tech kind of nominations, or maybe Kristen Scott Thomas's performance, because I thought she was really good and did rise above that. But otherwise, the movie's just fine, and especially if you've seen the original, and that's I think where I want to hear from you, because I don't think you've seen the original. So what is your take on this with not having kind of a built-in, thought process?
Yeah, I'll start from the top. I have not seen the original. I liked the movie. I was disappointed because I went into this thinking, ooh, Hitchcocky. So we're probably going to get a twist or we're going to get an angle. And I guess I was just disappointed with said twist, if you will. I watched with the wife. She really enjoyed it. She really enjoyed it. And I was like, oh, really? Like, it took me aback at how much she actually liked it. And I was like, all right, cool. She had not seen the original either. I now do want to watch the original just to compare notes. But I'm with you. I thought it was fine. The coloring really stood out to me when they're on their honeymoon.
Yellow is everywhere, right?
Bright.
Yeah.
Yes, very vibrant. The ocean, water is very bright blue. Then even when they get to not Mandalay, I want to say Mandalay Bay. When they get to Mandalay Bay, but the house, it comes a little grayer, and then whenever they're at the boathouse, it's like dark.
Yeah, you're right.
And very, and so those parts really stood out to me, and I felt like that was almost a nod to kind of like Hitchcock would pay attention to those details.
And I'll even step on that a little further. Like there's some scenes where they're kind of very dark, like scenes where, I guess spoilers if you don't want to hear any plots, but Armie Hammer, when he's sleepwalking and she's following him, and then Miss Danvers is off to the side, and it's very dark. It is almost black and white because the way that they light it, you just see her face lit, like just ever so appropriately, like just to get that reaction and things like that. So yeah, that is definitely like homage to Hitchcock, I think.
And the last thing, I liked Armie Hammer. I thought he was good. Nothing fantastic. I heard people bashing his accent. I thought it was just fine. And then, I agree with everything you said about Lily James, except you pronounced her name right. It's Lily Homebacker James. We forgot that part. But I'm with you on your, she's very pretty. She's not this, drop dead,
No, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think it helps sell these kind of roles for her. Just like Cinderella, where she's supposed to be, this housemaid who becomes this princess. It's a very similar role to what she does here in Rebecca, I think. So, I encourage you to go back and watch the original, to be honest. The slight differences aren't really that pronounced. I expected maybe a little bit more because they were like, oh no, this is based on the book, not the film. And I was like, okay. But it wasn't that different. And from what I read, the only real changes that they had to make were because Hitchcock couldn't do them that way in his movie because of the code, the Hays Code or whatever. So there was some stuff that like they weren't allowed to do that he had kind of had to change the plot for. So yeah, but I was also kind of surprised with Ann Dowd. I didn't even know that she was in the movie, and like her first half hour that she's in there, I really liked her too. I always love seeing her on screen. Yeah,
God, she's fantastic. She's just so great in that role. That's so much like her Leftovers role. She just plays that older, naggy woman that you just hate,
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a just fine. Like I said, I felt like I've seen some people kind of bashing it a little bit. I don't think it deserves the bashing. I think give Ben Wheatley the credit for even doing this. And I think he did a better job than the Psycho remake where it was shot for shot. You know what I mean? Like, at least he tried to do something different with it.
All right, let's move things along here. This is some Apple correspondence that we're getting up to next. And you even got to jump on board
for some reason, there was an apple just kind of fell off the truck, and I was able to pick it up and take a bite. So, no, this was one that I was anticipating pretty heavily. So I did go above and beyond to make sure I was able to check this one out this week. And this is our newest film from Sofia Coppola, starring, it's Marlon Wayans, right? I always want to say Damon, but that one's Marlon, right? Okay, so Marlon Wayans, Rashida Jones, Bill Murray. And, I mean, this is basically just a modern New York couple dealing with a possible infidelity. And the wife enlists her kind of Lothario dad, if you will, to help figure it out. And I like that setup. The biggest thing that I will take out of this movie was they pulled off the tonal balance, I think. And that's why it worked for me. I enjoyed the movie because of being able to play it as a comedy, but also still have those moments here or there of sad, tragic, things. I think that was a hard tightrope to walk when you're dealing with a movie like this. Like, my husband might be cheating on me. You could easily veer totally drama, but instead it's a lot of comedy, but it's not all comedy. There's still a little bit of that in there, which made sense for me. And I thought they played it really well. Also, just having Rashida Jones and Bill Murray as your leads. I mean, they had great chemistry, and I love both of them just as actors. Like, I just wanted Bill Murray to be my dad and hang out with me. I wanted to hang out with Rashida Jones, just wearing our rap T-shirts together. Like, I love both of them. I think they're both great characters. So to have them as leads, I think they really sold the movie well. As far as Sofia Coppola, whatever. I've never been that impressed with her. Yes, I like Lost in Translation. I would even say Virgin Suicides is a pretty good movie, but that's about it for her with me. So, and I don't think anything really stands out to me as like, oh yeah, because of her direction, it was great. You know what I mean? But so overall, decent. I would probably put it a smidge above Rebecca in my rankings for the weekend. I just enjoyed it that much more.
Sure.
The only things that stuck out for me is like I didn't like maybe were it just stunk of wealth and privileged life a little bit too much for me. Where sometimes that's hard for me to identify with. You know what I mean? And that angle of it, and then there's like the one scene which felt very tone deaf with like the car and they get pulled over and the cops interaction, and I'm like, right now that doesn't play well, I don't think. A little bit untimely on their part. And then just at the end of the day, it's like, oh, men are babies, basically, is like the point of this movie. Like, they just need the attention of women at all times, and I don't know if I agree with that's not all men, I guess. So I don't like that generalization either. But overall, very enjoyable. Like I said, it's kind of funny. I thought Marlon Wayans was actually really good too. In the small bits that he had in here, he pulled it off.
Okay, so I liked it. I will put it definitely above Rebecca. I thought it was a nice little tale. I liked the compactness of the story. It's an hour and 36 minutes. It doesn't drag, and I can actually think of parts that you could take out of this, but everything was fine. The number one would be the cop scene. I actually didn't like the way they got to where they got with the cop scene. Where, Murray getting out of the car, the way he had the conversation to me didn't flow. I felt like how it could have even flowed. I thought Marlon Wayans was fine. There's a couple of deliveries over his line that I was kind of, all right, that's fine. Rashida Jones, I love. I think she's fantastic. I did enjoy Jenny Slate being in there.
Oh, yeah.
Parks and Rec
I forgot she was in there, but it's like, what was her point, really? That was part of my problem with it. Like, I like her. I'm glad she was there, but I didn't really get why she was there.
Scene number one, when she slows down Rashida Jones and she's in a hurry and she's telling her life story, I got that. But then to bring her back 3-4 more times, whatever. I loved Bill Murray in this. I thought he was a lot of fun in this. You know me, I'm not as high on Bill Murray as everybody else in the world is. I adore him as an icon in Hollywood, but not as high. I thought he was great. He did this role fantastically. But I'm just going to push your point a little bit further. I hated the message here that we're sending about men. Yes, that's Bill Murray's character. That's his thing. And they didn't even give him redemption qualities at the point where you would have thought he was going to then try and redeem himself. It was just, no, I'm owning this is the type of guy I am. And this is all men, because the Mesopotamian men would do this and try and bang all the women. I was like, well, why are we delivering this message here, Sofia Coppola? Because I've never cheated on my wife. And I know a lot of great guys out there that haven't cheated on theirs. Why are we painting
And at
this
the end of the
picture?
day, it is, spoiler alert, it is a happy ending, because Marlon Wayans didn't do what she thinks he did. So he isn't like her dad. You know what I mean?
That's a hell of a spoiler. You just gave. Sorry, folks.
I said spoiler.
Anyway, yes. You did. Yeah. Either way, I did enjoy this film. I liked Rashida Jones a lot in this. I thought she showed a pretty good range. We could have even gotten a little more drama out of her in her decision making. Like, do I let my dad follow down this path, or maybe I should just confront him? Like, I could have used the scene there as opposed to Jenny Slate or the cop scene, where she's like really torn. Like, maybe I should just go confront him. I think you're cheating on me. What's going on? Versus, no, I'm going to go my dad's route and get a private detective.
I thought we were getting it in that one scene where we go to Mexico. I thought we were going to get that, and then it didn't pan out.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's where the privilege part also, to me, I didn't like.
Let's
Bill
just
Murray's
go
life,
to Mexico, whatever.
Sells and I have a friend who has a
Sure.
suite who's right next door, and then I've got a buddy who knows the concierge in London who can this. At one point, I was like, all right, this is just too many. Like this would not
well,
happen.
and
to
is
me
that
or
just
most
Sofia Coppola?
people,
Like that's
you know.
how she grew up, so that's how she assumes everyone's life is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
I don't know. Now I'm talking myself down on this movie a little bit, but no. But
I know,
no,
I
I
just
did
realized
like
that
it.
too,
I
and I
enjoyed it. Like
actually
you said,
not
I think the
kinda
short
enjoyed
runtime and just the chemistry of the two leads, and they definitely had like that father daughter chemistry, which was
Worth
good. Like the whistling scenes and things like that. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Moving right along, let's jump on over to
Oh
HBO.
man, now I was excited to wrap this up because we were both really taken by that first episode, and this is the third day. We got 6 episodes on HBO Max, little mini series here. We both kind of did the same thing. I think where after the first episode we waited and just binged it out, which I gotta say was the smart way to do it because I couldn't imagine waiting week to week with some of the things that they leave you hanging on in the show. So this one actually is really good to just wait and binge it out. So it's only 6 episodes. Jump in and watch it. Jude Law is kind of the main character. Well, really, it is
I know
because
that's
the
weird to
show
say,
is
isn't
split
it?
inherently into 2 halves. So the first 3 episodes, he is the focus for sure, and then they kind of shift focus halfway through the season and give you 2.5 episodes of a different character that really gets the focus, and then Jude Law kind of comes back around. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this thing. I think it was strange. It was trippy. It kind of had some horror elements to it, which I didn't see coming at first. It's a co-production with the English company Sky. They were showing it over there as well. It reminded me of Wicker Man. I don't know if you've ever seen Wicker Man. Okay, so I definitely got like Wicker Man vibes, kind of like the religious cult on this island and what happens while they're there, and these people get sucked into this. But like I said, Jude Law really impressed me here. Sometimes I think I forget how good of an actor he is. I also really liked the kind of comedic relief of Patty Considine and Emily Mortimer. She was cracking me up. Anytime she's like, yeah, fucko and cunt and fuck off. Like she was cracking me up.
Yeah.
And then even Catherine Waterston, she's an okay actress to me. I haven't seen her really blow me away a lot, but the way she shifts into like almost a different character in the second half of the season was very impressive. So I will give her a shout out there. And then Naomi Harris. Naomi Harris comes in and takes the focus of the second half of the season, and she has some big kind of moments of emotionality and whatnot, and I like that. And then almost like you were saying in Rebecca, the second half of the season, so they split it into 3 episode arcs. They had different directors do both of them as well. So it's almost like 2 separate long movies we're watching, and they very much have different feels, different looks, everything about them. And I like that. I thought that was really smart the way they did that.
Yeah, I agree all around. I might hype Waterston a little bit more. I really enjoyed her in this. Jude Law, I'm on record as loving that guy, and now his career kind of, like you've said in the past, kind of hit a resurgence where he's back in the main fold, and this is definitely going to help. Next year come Emmy time, I wouldn't be surprised to see his name thrown around a wee bit.
What did you think in episode 6 when he shows back up? I was like, whoa, okay.
Well, I was jealous that he can grow his hair that easily. Thanks, Dick. But, and also being a father, being a parent of young children right now, like there's some emotionality in this that might hit you a little harder than you're expecting. So be kind of ready for that if your parents out there watching, dealing with, not giving anything away really here, but dealing with losing children and what have you. But yeah, I really did enjoy it. Now, listen, folks, when you watch this, sometimes you watch a movie and you're like, well, if they had just made this decision well, you know what? If they didn't make that decision, you wouldn't have had the show to watch. So you just kind of have to bear with a couple of like, well, why didn't he? Okay, if he did, you wouldn't have watched the show. So therefore, just bear with it. And a couple of decision makers that both he and Naomi Harris make, their characters, make, where you're like, oh, okay, well, we're along for the ride now. Very wild stuff. The cult stuff was wild. The religious stuff, the serial killers that they bring into the fold and the connectivity with there is like, this is trippy. What's going on here? The acting performances really drove it. All the ones that you mentioned, I'll just echo. It really drove strong performances across the board. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, I encourage people to binge this out. 6 episodes. It's not a huge investment. It feels like 2 separate movies, so just think of it that way. Like, first part, second part, whatever. Come in for those performances, like you said, but stay for just a really original project, I think, and it stood out as something special for me. So I'm glad we checked it out. Sticking with that, though, let's do another HBO project that we had a first take on.
Yeah.
And this is Undoing. This is also only going to be 6 episodes on HBO. And we had a chance to check out the first episode. What did you think so far about Undoing?
Remember back when Hugh Grant was kind of like a heartthrob and he was with Elizabeth Hurley and then he was an idiot and lost her for doing his little cocaine hooker thingy or whatever?
Sure.
And then you know how they say how as men get older, they get better looking, but women don't? It is the exact opposite for that couple. I'm like, wow, Hugh Grant's looking old, man. And Liz
He
Hurley,
is, but he's also having that resurgence, kind of like
Yes.
Jude Law is, where the last few years he's coming back and reminding us that he's a good actor again.
thanks to Paddington too.
Yeah, there you go. And what, The Gentleman as well?
The Gentleman. Yeah, he was great in The Gentleman. Okay, first take. We've only watched one episode. Only one episode is out right now, so this is legit a first take here. I hooked. I enjoyed it. I want to know what the hell is going to happen here. Again, we're going to be dealing with some money, some privilege maybe to a degree.
Sure.
Kidman and Hugh Grant live in New York. They have a teenage son, and they're dealing with him going to school. And this first episode is kind of about a charity auction that they go to, and they're selling Knicks tickets for $15,000. Who is spending $15,000 to go see the Knicks right now? I'm not sure. But then we're talking about some societal drama because they meet this new woman who has a new kid in school, but we find out she doesn't have all the money and she's trying to fit in. But Nicole Kidman's character is like the only one being nice to her right now. Is it because she has perfect breasts? Maybe. That's a thing in the show. I didn't make that up. You'd have to watch the episode for that. Don't get on me on that one. Intriguing. I'm intrigued. Yourself?
Yes. No, I agree. I will say 40 minutes into it, I was like, okay, like, what's going on here? I was starting to drag maybe a little bit for me. And then kind of the other shoe drops. And then you get that kind of twist that I was waiting on and where we're going to be propelled forward for the rest of the season. It gives us a little mystery to look forward to. So far, good performances. Nicole Kidman, always solid. Like I said, Hugh Grant, not in it a ton, but he gives us a little bit. I like Lily Rabe. I hope that they give her a lot more screen time because she's really good. Noah Jupe, one of my favorite up-and-coming kid actors. I'm hoping he'll play into it a little bit more down the road. And Donald Sutherland, they just kind of show him real quick, but I'm hoping he also factors into it a little bit more down the road. Like you said, the breastfeeding scene and also the locker. There's a locker room scene as well later. I found that to be very awkward, but in a sexual tension kind of way. Did you grab that, like, for Nicole Kidman at all? Like, I'm wondering if we're going to explore that angle.
Well, I mean,
without giving away spoilers.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I think yes, they will, but in a different degree, in a different angle than what we might be thinking after episode 1. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Spoiling.
So
But
I
yeah,
mean,
definitely.
and this is from writer-producer David E. Kelley, who worked with her on Big Little Lies. This is based on a novel called You Should Have Known. And like you said, it's just these New York wealthy assholes so far, and they think they're being virtuous, by helping this person who's not as well off as them and whatever. And that kind of sets up our crux of the story. We can't really say much else about it. Directed by Susan Bier, who did Bird Box. So that was interesting to kind of throw her out there. I thought it looked good. I thought it was beautifully shot, and I'm in. For 6 episodes, why not give it a shot?
Agreed all around.
All right.
That will, let's see, that wraps up episode 216, folks. If you stick around, we should be giving you the full review. If not episode 217, we should be wrapping that whole thing up.
Yep. Now, you had a chance to also do a little first take, and I did not get a chance to catch up with you. So tell me about your Disney Plus Right Stuff.
Yeah, and this was some bad math on my part. I saw one date and goofed up. We're actually 4 episodes into The Right Stuff. It comes out Fridays on Disney Plus. This was actually a Nat Geo project, which you might get a little surprised. It's TV 14, I guess, is what they would rate it.
Okay.
Because there is a potty word or two in there, so be careful, folks, with Disney Plus. It's not just for the rated G's. Patrick Adams, I'm a fan of his from Suit. Patrick Fischler is one of those guys that he's in so many things, but you never know his damn name. I promise you guys, you'll recognize the actor. And then a bunch of people that aren't necessarily super well known, which I'm enjoying to a degree. And this is all about the NASA space program first starting. Very beginning. Russia's kicking our butt. We've got to catch up. What do we got to do? How do we sell this to the American people? How do we twist the agenda so that senators and congressmen will give us the money? It's a little, inside baseball of how they could get these things launched and off the, pun intended, launched and off the ground to get NASA going. How they chose their pilots, which was kind of crazy. The one guy came in with like a whole list of pilots, and he was like, here you go. And they were like, is this it? You know, we've only got like 100 names here. And he was like, well, the guy handed it to me at the front desk said that, you know, only Navy men can apply. Marines don't need to because they're not worthy. And then the two scientists look at each other and they go, the guy at the front desk is in the Navy. Of course he's going to say that, asshole. Go get the list of Marines that apply too. So like there's that fun military jabbing back and forth. I like it. It's not grabbing me. Like
Okay.
I thought about this the other day. I was like, if I don't see another episode, I don't know if I would lose sleep over it. But I do want to find out what happens. I.e., like with these characters. Patrick Adams plays John Glenn. There's some inside stuff with Alan Shepard that I want to find out about. He's got some mental issues I didn't know about. And then like the one episode ends cliffhanger with them shooting off a rocket, but it blows up in front of everybody's face. Like this is without any humans on board, like when they're first testing. So I kind of want to see how the scientists get in there and they fix things up and the drama created there. Because now all the wives of the astronauts, they don't want them to fly and all that kind of stuff. I'm digging it so far. I'll give you the full review in a couple of episodes. I think it wraps up in 4 weeks. So episode 215-ish, 216, we'll be done with it. If you have any interest at all, jump on. Because I'd like to chit-chat with a couple of you guys out there about it if you have any interest. Because I am liking it, but it's not like super grabbing me. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. I think that's kind of why I dragged my feet on watching it to begin with. I remembered when it launched, I was like, yeah, okay. I do kind of want to see it. Because I was a big fan of the movie. Did you ever watch the movie from the 80s?
No.
Oh yeah, the movie's great. I mean, it's a long one. It's over 3 hours long, but it's Ed Harris, Scott Glenn, Sam Shepard, Dennis Quaid, Fred Ward, a bunch of good people in there, and I really liked it. And that's based on a book as well. So I'm wondering if there's like differences between the movie version, or if they went straighter to the book this time, or what, something like Rebecca, where this is like not an adaptation of the movie necessarily, a remake or whatever, and especially since they're stretching it out into multiple episodes instead of just a 3-hour movie. But I did like the movie, so I am intrigued by the story, and I've always loved everything kind of space related. So maybe I'll try and catch up with you, and I look forward to hearing your final thoughts on it, though. But then you also had a chance to check out something over on Netflix that I did not, and this is Bert Kreischer's new project, The Cabin.
The Cabin with Bert Kreischer. Okay, again, a privilegey thing to open up here. This opens up with a celebrity saying, oh my God, my life is such a mess. It's so hectic. I have to wake up. I have to perform. I got to fly on a plane, do this show, fly back on a plane. And like the opening intro of this almost loses me. Like, all right, Bert, I get it. That's your life. You're busting it. You're grinding. But that's losing me as a regular person. Like, oh darn, you have to fly private first class to this, then fly to this. Okay, I see what you're trying to sell. Then he says, to fix all this, to find balance in my life, I'm going to get away. I'm going to go stay in a cabin in the woods by myself. Well, what does he do? He doesn't stay by himself. He invites a bunch of other comedians to come up 2 at a time, 3 at a time to join him, where then they do some actual mind, body, and soul, cleansing type things, but then they just make jokes about it.
Okay.
If you like Bert Kreischer's comedy, I think you might enjoy it. I'll be honest, I cranked out 5 episodes, all less than 30 minutes within a day. I was actually doing some editing for here, and I was like, well, let me just put this on, and next thing I know, it was done. The final episode 5 with Anthony Harris and Dion Cole is by far the best ep. There's a whole scene where Bert Kreischer gets stung by a bee on his stomach, so he asked Dion Cole to spit on it because he was smoking a cigar, and he says cigar spit will help it heal. So then Dion Cole like spits on it, but when he does it like violently, like he's angry at Kreischer for something. And then Kreischer's just like, man, I've got retribution right now for all black people of all time. I can make any racial joke because I could just say, nope, one of yours spit on my stomach. And it was those were the funniest moments. There's another episode with Nikki Glazer and Bruce Jenner. What's his name now? Her name?
Kylie or
can't think of it.
something?
Caitlyn Jenner. Yeah. It was a weird dynamic. It was a very weird dynamic.
Yeah, that was my problem with
great.
why I didn't jump into the show. Is I felt like I looked at the cast list of who was on there, and I was like, nobody I really love, or there was like those weird pairings.
Yes, yeah. I don't really recommend this, to be honest with you guys. I mean, if you love, he does a shtick where he calls the wife, and we finally do get to meet Leanne. We finally see the wife, and she's like, "Hey, how's it going all by yourself,
what about
honey?"
The kids there too.
They show them, but never really on the FaceTime calls whenever he calls her. And then she's like, how's it going all by yourself? And he's like, so about that. I wound up, she's like, you didn't call some friends, did you?
Oh, jeez. So it's like very set up kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
See, I don't like that. And I do like Bert. I've watched a few of his stand-ups. I've listened to his podcasts, for years. And I do like some of his one-on-one, like kind of interview stuff with his friends and stuff. And it plays well. But This just didn't seem like it was that interesting to me. I don't know.
If you miss it, you won't be missing out on.
I feel like we're tailing off here on our reviews, and that's a shame.
No, can you bring us back?
No,
can you bring?
No.
Listen, it's October. It's horror time. Give us something scary that you recommend.
Well, I'm going to continue to tail off. I think a little bit. I 2 weeks ago reviewed the first 2 releases on the Blumhouse Amazon Prime project that they were doing this month. The Welcome to the Blumhouse, and they released 2 movies. I think it was October 6th, and 2 movies on October 13th. So I reviewed the first 2 a couple weeks ago. Fell behind on the next 2, but I did catch up with them finally. And these are Nocturne and Evil Eye. These are the 3rd and 4th releases. Nocturne deals with these 2 sisters who are rivals at playing piano. One ends up being better than the other, kind of doing well in college, going to be going on to Juilliard, possibly, whatever. The other one finds a journal of a former student who died and kind of is rumored to have gone crazy. And she starts going to this book and learning from it, and things start to change for her, and she starts to do better, and things start to change for her sister, and she's not doing as well. So it reminded me of Black Swan to some extent, but nowhere near as good. So don't take that recommendation as this is, I love Black Swan. Black Swan is probably one of my top 25 movies of all time. I love that movie, but Nocturne is not anywhere near that. It just reminded me of it. Decent little movie, decent performances. Sydney Sweeney, who's been in a lot of stuff, you'd recognize her. Under the Silver Lake, Big Time Adolescence, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sharp Objects, Euphoria. She's done a lot of stuff, so you'd know her if you saw her. Madison Iceman, who was in Jumanji. She's Bethany in Jumanji. So they're your 2 leads. They're the 2 sisters who are rivals here. And it was okay, man. I feel like all these are just okay. Between 2 and 3 stars out of 5, all these movies. And the problem with this whole series that they did, I feel like they would have been better off just creating their own Black Mirror or Twilight Zone-ish kind of series and making these only half hour to hour long. Because I don't feel like they needed to be even the hour and a half movies that they were. I feel like there was a lot of padding to even stretch them to that length. These would have played better just as shorts, I think, or little half hours or whatever. And that's really the way they should have done this. Welcome to the Blumhouse should have been the series, and then each episode was only 30 minutes to an hour. And I think those would have played better and tighter and been, I don't know, just a little scarier. I feel like they played it up like it was going to be a horror month, and none of these are really that much horror to me, not any of them. So I was really let down overall. Maybe they'll redo this as a different format, next year or whatever. And it's a shame because Blumhouse has their name attached to it, and they're usually pretty good pedigree. Sure. So then the other one that was on here was Evil Eye, and that was the 4th one I watched, the last one released. And this is a little more interesting because it's based in Indian culture. It's produced by Priyanka Chopra and written by somebody who did an Audible original story about this. And it's kind of like an Indian culture thing called The Evil Eye. And it's just dealing with their lore or whatever. And this woman she's an Americanized daughter of an Indian family who meets a new man and wants to kind of introduce him to the family and get the approval of the family. And the mom is convinced that this man is a former boyfriend of hers who was abusive to her. And spoiler alert, as you go into the movie, you find out she actually killed him. She actually pushed him. They got into a altercation. She pushed him off a bridge and he died. And so this is actually kind of like a reincarnation thing. And that is the spoiler of it, is that this really is kind of a reincarnation of the man that she killed that was a former abusive boyfriend. And now he's out to get her daughter. So kind of an interesting concept, I guess. Sarita Chaudhuri is the lead here. If you watched Homeland, she was Saul's wife in Homeland. That's the kind of most recognizable thing I have for her. And then Sunita Mari is the lead, the girl who has the new boyfriend. She was just in the movie Save Yourselves that I reviewed, I think last week, 2 weeks ago as well. So I feel like it's the same thing as Nocturne. This would have been better as maybe under an hour. They tried to pad it. They tried to make it too long. Decent performances. It's an interesting concept because we're getting into some Indian culture, and I like that. That was cool to give me a different approach, different story. But overall, none of these movies were that great for me. So I would say stay away from the Blumhouse stuff. It's not really horror, and they were just okay overall. I think if I had to pick out of the 4, I would say that Black Box was probably the best one, which was the first one. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's it. I'm done with the Blumhouse horror for the month. I just wanted to, I'm a completist. I had to watch them all and see if my opinions would change. So.
All right, folks, sit back and relax. See if your opinions change while we take a quick break.
Shining bright above you. Night breezes seem to whisper, I love you. Birds singing in the sycamore tree. Dream a little dream of me. Say nighty night and kiss me. Just hold me tight and tell me you'll miss me while I'm alone and blue as can be.
All right, brother. So 2 weeks ago, you and I chatted and we were thinking, all right, superhero secret cinema. It started off good. A lot of people were in on it, but maybe things have been tailoring off. So we kind of threw an easy one 2 weeks ago, and last week, and we broke our record. We had the most responses we had ever had, the most interaction for this one. We had a lot of chatter going on for last week's. So this week I thought, you know what, let's keep this ball rolling. I'm going to throw out one that I think is pretty easy. A little bit of synergy going, Jude Law with Third Day. I was like, all right, I got a little synergy going here. People know we're doing Third Day. I'm going to throw this out. Jan Rog, Dr. Savannah, Dr. Christine Parker, Tony Stark, Headmaster. Threw them all out there. Now, I thought it would be very easy once people got Jan Rog and Tony Stark. There's Jude Law and RDJ. I thought that would be an easy day to figure out. Sherlock Holmes. That's the answer.
Have they been in anything else together? And yeah, those two names are pretty easy to catch right away. So it was an easier one. Yeah, we got a couple responses. We got 3 responses on Instagram that I saw.
I guess so. Katz, you're our winner. You jumped in first. I mean, and that's even with throwing in a joke, like pretending that I was making up names here, which we aren't. But he definitely was the winner. Who did you see 2 others? Because I missed the other
I saw
two.
Shy and Julio, Contrarian Prime there. They both kind of chimed in.
Oh, hey. Did they do the
sticker?
The Instagram response?
The Instagram story sticker, yep.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, good. You guys get your shout-outs as well. All right, that makes me feel better.
Yeah, because it was a pretty easy one. And I felt like nobody chimed in on the Facebook or the Twitter either, so that's a shame.
I double-checked both of those. You know, Christine Parker, that was Rachel McAdams, obviously, and she was Christine Parker in Doctor Strange. You know, Dr. Savannah, I feel like we have Mark Strong as Dr. Savannah in like every other week that we have that. You know, Eddie Marsan played Headmaster. You know, I was trying to throw in a couple more not to make it super duper easy because we usually could just put Jude Law and RDJ. Maybe it was the Jan Rog that people weren't picking up on with Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Maybe just that was a little underseen, so they didn't
put
know
that was the character name or whatever. Yeah.
We're gonna keep going. We're gonna try again. But folks, jump on here, man. Jump on. And Katz admitted he was like, "Listen, I guessed, and then I Googled, and I got it right, so that's okay."
Yeah. I think Shy said he finally understands how the game is played, so that's good. Maybe we'll get some more interaction out of him.
Whoop whoop! All right, let's interact ourselves on over to the casting couch.
Welcome to the Take Two casting couch. Sit back and get comfortable. Oh yeah.
I only had one thing, so let me get it out of the way, and then I'll let you talk because I know you said you had a couple good things. You know, I've been a fan of the Bly Manor, The Haunting of Hill House. I talked about it recently. They're doing another show with Netflix, Mike Flanagan. This is going to be 7 episodes. It's called Midnight Mass, and he's bringing back a bunch of his old friends from Hill House and Bly Manor. So Kate Siegel, Henry Thomas, they're returning from both Hill House and Bly Manor, and then Rahul Cooley and Alex Esso, both on Bly Manor only, they're also returning. So not more info really than that, but that's cool. I like Flanagan. I like what he's doing with Netflix. I hope it's better than Bly Manor, but I like seeing all these people come back.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Scarlett Johansson is jumping onto a movie called Bride. This is a sci-fi drama going to Apple TV.
Okay.
Lovely. So you'll get some Apple corresponding eventually with some ScarJo in it. Journal for Jordan. This is being directed by Denzel. Michael B. Jordan has already been attached to it, and they just added a female lead opposite of him with Chantel Adams.
Okay, cool.
I like the names involved there. Bullet Train, we've mentioned in the past. This is Brad Pitt's project that he's working on. That they just added Aaron Taylor Johnson to play opposite him. New Gen, that's going to be an animated series, has cast Lena Headey and Luke Wilson as their leads, and that's animated, so it's just voiceover from them. Dope Sick is a Hulu project that's being directed by Barry Levin, and that has added Rosario Dawson as their lead.
Nice.
Scenes from a Marriage. This is
Isn't Oscar Isaac supposed
we
to be
talked
in
about
this,
this. Oscar Isaac's in this. Michelle Williams is
okay.
out. She was supposed to. There's scheduling issues to replace Michelle Williams. We're bringing in old Brandy Chastain.
Okay. Interesting. And I've heard a couple names that we've talked about right here that we're going to talk about a little bit later. So a busy week for a few of these people.
And if you scroll back into your Spotlight feed, folks, you're going to see a Jake Gyllenhaal Spotlight. He's one of our faves here on the show. He's a fan favorite. And I think we said, you know what I'd love to see him do is one of those HBO series.
Ooh.
Well, there's a series on HBO coming up called The Sun, starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Nice. Jakey boy. I love it. Good.
We got one more casting, but we're going to talk about that when we get into our nerdy comic book section. So that's it for the couch for now, and let's do a little trailer talking.
So I was wondering, what movies are coming out soon? Oh, look, a new trailer. Talking trailers with Trailer Talk.
Yeah, a lot shorter trailer section than recently. I know recently I've been bombarded you with like 6 to 8 different trailers every week. This week I only saw 2. The first one actually right after we dropped episode 210.5 last week. It was like we literally stopped recording and it dropped. And that is Raya and the Last Dragon, which is the next of the Disney animated films. What'd you think about this trailer?
I foresee a tuk-tuk plush toy in my home in the near future.
Yeah, sure. It totally gave me, the Moana vibes, which it's from some of the same creators of it. I gotta say, I loved the music in the trailer. I was loving that. I was really getting into that.
Yeah. It looked fun. It looked, she's kind of ninja-y, kind of doing some spy stuff. I don't know, it looked like it's going to be a lot of fun. This looked like it could be a win. I don't know why. I got a better vibe off of this than I ever did from like the Onward.
Oh, yeah,
promotions
100%.
or whatever.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love these like empowered women kind of movies that we're getting, especially having a young daughter at home. It's important to have all those. So good for that. Looking forward to that. And then the other one I saw was The Prom, which they said was a teaser trailer. And that's actually why initially I didn't click on it, because I thought it was short. Because I was like, oh, should I share this to the page? But if it's a teaser, I don't want to bother. And then I watched it and I was like, it's over 2 minutes long. How is that a tease?
Yeah, crazy. Not so much. Good synergy, though, because it's the Nicole Kidman, since we were watching some Nicole Kidman, but also Meryl Streep, Kerry Washington. Got a loaded cast here. Keegan-Michael Key, whom I enjoy.
Yeah. I remember hearing that this was coming, and I think this was a big on Broadway originally. So this is an adaptation of a Broadway thing. And I think this is the guy that does Glee, right? That's involved with this.
Ryan Murphy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and I thought originally I'd heard that they had hopes maybe for Oscars. I don't know if I got that vibe out of like this being an Oscar-y type project, but it could be fun. Whatever, little musical. So,
James Corden, buddy, you need to make up for that stuff you did to Cats. I'm very upset with you with the Cats. Shy, if you're listening,
coming soon.
Shy, if you're listening, I watched the Cats. We got to set that up, man. I got to text him as soon as we get a minute to record the episode.
There you go.
Yeah. All right, that's it for the trailers, guys. We're gonna take another quick break. We'll be right back.
I heard that you're settled down, that you found a girl and you're married now. I heard that your dreams came true. Guess she gave you things I didn't give to you. Old friend, why are you so shy? It ain't like you to hold back or hide from the light. I hate to turn up out of the blue uninvited, but I couldn't stay away. I couldn't fight it. I had hoped you'd see my face and that you'd be reminded that for me it isn't over. Never mind, I'll find someone like you. I wish nothing but the best for you too. Don't forget me, I beg. I remember you said sometimes it lasts in love, but sometimes it hurts instead.
We finished watching Rebecca and they're showing the cast list, and my wife goes, Army Hammer? That guy's name is Army Hammer. Are you serious? So I turned to her and I said, this is your first time hearing Army Hammer's name? She's like, yeah. Is he like an actor I should know? I was like, what rock do you live under? This is like, you know how I know you don't listen to your husband's show? Yeah. this is how, lady.
And he's been huge for 10 years. I mean, since Social Network, since the Winklevi.
Yeah, I rattled off like 4 films that I know she has seen. She is actually a Man from U.N.C.L.E. Apologist. She actually liked that movie. So I'm just like, baby, you know this guy. You How are we married? How?
Show her Call Me by Your Name. Show him
no.
Eating the peach. Come on.
Oh, we went there. Wait, she's seen that. She's seen Call Me by Your Name. And that wasn't even one of the ones that I mentioned.
Oh my gosh.
Blah, 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 blah.
Did you explain the name, where it comes from too?
No, I did not.
Because isn't he like a descendant of the Arm & Hammer like family? Isn't that where that came from?
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Crazy. Is that valid?
I thought so. Crazy. Maybe I'm just blowing smoke up your ass. I don't know.
That's okay.
Before we move on, though, funny thing
please.
I forgot to mention during the third day review. Did you watch the little like making of that they tagged onto the last episode?
I did, yeah.
I thought that was crazy how they said they actually like really did film it on like that kind of island where you had to get on that causeway to get over there.
Yes.
That was wild. Because then like I think it was Patty Considine was like, you know, you're reading the script, you're doing this, and you're like, well, why didn't they just leave? And you kind of think that, but then you're like, once you're there, you're like, oh, I kind of get it. Like it may be harder to get out of here than you think it is or whatever. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Could you, I actually meant to say this back then. Could you live like that? Could you live where your only way off of this island is 4-hour time slots a day that now you can drive and leave and then drive? You could? Sure. You're totally down? No cell service, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say in retirement, like if I don't have to worry about a job, things like that, and I can just, Because I've talked about that before. Like we have friends and family that live like upper peninsula or up north in Michigan, and it's kind of like that, like really desolate, really, you know, there's areas where you don't get anything and you don't have stores around, and I think I could do it.
Oh my God. Well, I mean,
COVID has taught me survival skills.
I can see that, but nope. Enjoy. We'll never talk again. That'll be the end of our podcast when you move to there.
I'll write my thoughts and send it to you once a month.
Time for the Hollywood news.
In the news.
All right, big one for the week, I guess, was the exploration of sending Bond to streaming. It sounds like it was just talked about, obviously not happening at this point, but I thought it was interesting to bring up that they were putting a sale price on this of $600 million. That's insane to me, but I guess, you'd have to pay that much for something like this $250 million budget movie, and I guess Apple and Netflix were both kind of vying for it. So what do you think? Yeah,
I think this was their studio head like, should we do this? Tell you what, let's talk about it and let's make the price.
I think they should.
You do. I'm thinking they put that price so high just to see if someone would bite. And now,
and I'm wondering if this story has been leaked, right, for that purpose.
That's true. Yeah. And then, so now they're just like, well, since nobody bit, that's crazy. We're not going to do that. We're going to stick with the theaters.
Sure.
But if somebody did,
but I think the response has been like, I want to see it.
True. What's our release date at this point? Is it May?
April. I think it's April.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
is like a full year later than the original release. And like I said, they've already pushed. I think they dropped 30 to 50 million just in advertising, and then they had to lose that money just by dropping the release date. Obviously, they want to probably get going on the next phase of the next movie and announce who the next Bond is going to be, all that stuff. So it's like, let's just get this thing out there and let people see it, man.
If they start right now, they could get Idris Elba's next Bond filmed by April.
There you go.
Just have that done, and then that one's released in November. 2 Bonds.
They should do Into the Bondiverse and just have all those men, like Richard Madden, Idris Elba. They'll all just stand there and point at each other.
Don't steal my Madden. That's my choice. Don't steal it.
All right.
So wait. Before we move on, you're down.
Yeah, sure.
You want it. You want the streaming at this point.
I mean, of course, I'd want to watch it on the big screen. I get that, but who knows when we're going to get these movies again? Who knows if even this April date is going to hold?
Right.
So just drop the thing. Let us see it. Let William Eilish sing her shitty song, and show me the Craig.
I'm a Bond girl. Do 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 do. That's not it. That's not it at all. All right, moving on. Go ahead.
There was also a kind of rumor, not totally confirmed, that Michael B. Jordan is going to do his directorial debut with Creed 3. the article kind of made it seem like it was a done deal, but hasn't really been confirmed yet. But that's where it sounds like it's leaning, is that he's going to be directing that and starring. So that's cool.
Is it?
I think so. You don't think so?
I'm fine. I don't know. I love every time that we think of him and Coogler, and I was thinking when I saw the headline of Creed 3, I was like, "Ooh, we're bringing back Coogler," but we're not. But
Creed 2 was great without Coogler.
Very
I
true.
really liked Creed 2. So
very much, yeah. No, I'm intrigued to see. I mean, who would know the character better than Michael B. Jordan? So
Sure.
he would have to know where he's going. You gotta assume Sly is going to be involved.
Well, that's what I was going to say too. It kind of takes it back to its roots with Sylvester Stallone. He acted and directed, whatever. And I don't know, I like it, and I think you see Michael B. Jordan becoming a much more interesting person each and every day. With I might be directing. I'm going to be producing this movie over here. I'm going to be starring in this. Like, I like what he's doing. He's got a very diverse career going for him. I like it.
Maybe Ryan Coogler will be the actor, and then they'll just switch it.
There you go.
He'll act in all of his directed films.
Sad news that I think you might have shared to our Facebook page there, that Quibi's done after only 6 months.
Bye-bye.
They started with 1.6 million subscribers off the bat, and then 90% of them left after the 90-day trial was over. That's crazy. I will say I stuck it out. I gave them 2 months of actually paying. So I was with them for 5 of the 6 months, I guess.
Woo.
That they were active, and I watched a decent amount of stuff. If you go back a few episodes, you'll hear my reviews on some of their stuff. The smart thing, though, that they're trying to do now is trying to sell off their content and trying to sell stuff, which is smart, because we talked about it last week. Some of these stations, TV networks, have nothing to show. There's been no new shows created. So apparently Quibi only showed half of their content that's been made available already. So they still have a lot of stuff that's never even been seen they can sell off. They can string back together, re-edit some of their stuff and make it long form and then release it on TV. So I think that's smart. I think they're going to make some money back here trying to sell off their content. So we'll see. Maybe they won't be dead yet, but I think it's one of those things where it hit at such a wrong time. This thing was made for people on the go and to watch in small bites, quick bites, like it's named after, and then everyone was stuck at home. So it was just, it sucked. If they would have launched at a different time, I think it might have been popular.
Yeah. They said they were going to fold after 4 months, but they had one subscriber in Virginia that was just holding on.
They got that extra $5 out of me, and they were like, yep.
Well, guys, watch it. They originally pitched it as they were going to just try and sell the entire service, but the flaw there was they didn't necessarily own the rights to every project that they had, so that was a little difficult, and just dumping all of it to Netflix type deal.
Sure.
And like you just said, put some of that they can re-edit together to then put into a longer form might be smart. Also, I guess good on them, pride swallowing, just being like, you know what, we've got a little bit of cash in the bank. We've got to pay out some of these employees and just walk away. Let's just cut our losses here and go. We tried. Bad timing. We got hosed. See ya. And then walk away with $1 in their pocket and they're done.
They tried as hard as they could to adapt too, because originally it was only for phones. Then they kind of backtracked on that. They made it available as like an app to watch on TVs and certain ways you can get around and do with that. They tried to present some of their stuff. I think it was drive-in movies in California where they did re-edit them together and show them in long form and try to get that. I don't know. They tried. They failed. It's a shame. I had hopes for it. So bye-bye, Quibi. Speaking of Ben Wheatley earlier, director of the Rebecca remake, he also directed a movie called Free Fire. I don't know if you ever saw that. That was pretty good. He is going to be directing our Meg sequel with Jason Statham involved.
Oh, cool.
Great. So that sucks. Speaking of a great director, though, David Fincher.
I can hear Craig upping his Patreon level just to force us to watch Meg.
The Meg 2. It's a Megalodon. David Fincher, great director. Let's talk about him.
Sure.
He came out this week in an interview and said, you know what, Mindhunter is done, but for now. And he said it's basically just because of the cost. It was a very costly show for them to do. And just right now is not a good time to start a production on it. So that sucks because I really like that show and I want to see more seasons.
Agreed.
Ghostbusters Afterlife has shifted their release date again. So now instead of March, we won't see it until June. And this is what I was just saying with Bond. I think these companies are starting to feel even early spring may not be safe to do wide releases. So is Bond going to move again? Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Tim Burton has been announced to be shopping around a Addams Family live-action TV series. He has Gow and Millar from Smallville as the writers and showrunners. teamed up with him.
Okay.
And it's possibly headed to Netflix. It seems like it's like really moving forward. And it said it will be a modern take, and it will focus a little bit more maybe on Wednesday's character than, maybe the mom and dad instead. So, but I think that's right up Tim Burton's alley. I think that sounds good.
Everything about that makes sense. You would see them going that angle,
Sure.
With the women power that we're on,
Sure.
and stuff like that with Wednesday. Intriguing. What if they got Christina Ricci to play Morticia?
That would be cool to have her come back at all in any sense. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Sure.
Lastly, for me, I saw the creator of Blackish, Kenya Barris, has been announced as the director for the Richard Pryor biopic that's been kind of in developmental hell for a while. So maybe that means it's finally moving forward. They still have no for sure casting on who will be playing Richard Pryor, though, as far as I know.
Ooh, that'd be bold for any actor to try and take that on.
I still think Jamie Foxx.
Think he could? Well, I mean, he's got the.
But he's already done, Ray and things like that. I don't know.
True. All true. Interesting. Alrighty. All good?
That's it. Maybe somebody new. Maybe somebody from like the One Night at Miami, like what's his name, Eli Gorey. He's kind of like new.
Yeah.
Not really well known.
Yeah.
Something like that could be good.
For our Italian listeners, your theaters are not opening up now through Thanksgiving. You don't have Thanksgiving because you're in Italy. Through 11/24. November 24th, the theaters will remain closed. Kind of a bummer because Italy was kind of on the upswing for a minute there, but now it looks like they're still keeping those types of things shut down for a minute. Chippendales is coming to Disney Plus. Nope, wait, let me remove an S off of that.
Chippendale.
Just Chippendale. Yeah, this is a live action, and it's going to begin filming in the spring.
Like they're gonna make the little animals' mouths move and shit.
I think so. Yes.
I love the cartoon, man. It's a great show.
And they're bringing back Harrison Ford to interact with the CGI dogs.
I don't want to be here with these chipmunks.
We got our Tony nominations.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. It's a very strange way of doing it this year because it seemed like they kind of overlooked some stuff or just gave a couple shows a lot of awards because there weren't very many to choose from. It was very strange.
Yep. Jagged Little Pill leads the way with 15 noms. Moulin Rouge with 14. Slave Play with 12, a couple other with like 11 and 10, and then spread out. Like literally every category that you go through, folks, you'll see 2 from this play, 2 from this musical, 3 actors from this one. It is very limited. Actor-wise, though, I did want to shout out Jakey Boy got a nom, as did Tom Hiddleston, and both for plays. So
didn't I see? I think it was like supporting actor in a musical or something. Maybe there's like only one person.
Only one guy. Only one guy got nommed.
But they said he doesn't automatically win either. He still has to get like 60% of people to like vote for him.
You nailed it. You nailed it. Yeah.
That's crazy to me.
What if he
Could you imagine losing to nobody?
Yeah. Oh my God. They had not announced when the awards show will be. It'll be virtual, which sucks because the host and the opening numbers of the Tony Awards is always the best. It's always a big production. I always love that. And but it'll be virtual, and I mean at this point, hold it tomorrow. Just let these people vote and have it next weekend. With you're not doing stuff, and it's so limited, so different. But all right, that's all the Hollywood news. Moving on to DC discussion.
And now we discuss DC.
Cool. I only had one thing, and that's Jared Leto back as Joker in Justice League in the reshoots. That movie that existed, but now we have to reshoot everything and add new characters. That movie.
Yeah, and?
Stupid.
Yeah, you're missing a second one, though. You're missing old Joe Manganiello as well.
Oh, is he back too? Whatever.
They're bringing back Deathstroke, excuse me. Bringing them both back in these reshoots. I love it, man. Add to it. Bring back the Snyderverse. Let's go, baby. If the studio's gonna give them cash, have at it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. You're not going to say no, but do we need to add Jared Leto to this thing? I don't think so.
Oh, no. I don't care. I know there's a big faction of people out there who are like, well, if you just let him flesh out the character and get into... I didn't like his take on the Joker whatsoever and what limited we got, so I have zero interest in seeing it. The other kicker is here, this really makes a connective tissue with this big universe that they thought they were going away from.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Like he wasn't in BVS. He wasn't in Justice League. He was only in Suicide
you
Squad.
had him kind of insinuated in BVS, right? Like
with the Robin costume.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I do like Joe Manganiello though as Deathstroke. I love that.
Yeah,
casting.
it was a shame that we didn't get more payoff with his. They promised us we were going to get more with him. We didn't, so that is good.
True.
But does that mean we're going to see more? I don't want more Lex. Sorry.
Those were the aspects of the Snyderverse that I was happy to move on from. I thought we could have done a little better there, but we're going to get more of it.
All right. Do you have anything else?
Oh, just so I'm not sure, folks. You probably saw Michael Keaton was on Jimmy Kimmel, and so Kimmel was peppering him with the Flash and Izzy cast and Izzy in it, and Keaton wouldn't confirm. To be honest, he was like, "I can't say anything. I won't confirm. Blah blah blah. There's nothing I can really say. What have you." Kind of expected to a degree, and then Kimmel was like, "All right, so there's all these big Batmans out there. Give us your honest answer. Who's the best?" And Keaton did not miss a beat. He was like, "Me, best Batman of all time. Suck it. I'm Batman."
Nice.
I love Keaton. He's fantastic. All right. DC discussion is done. Marvel Minute.
And now, your Marvel Minute.
Again, I only had one piece of news there, and that was, I think, what you were relating to earlier with the casting. Oscar Isaac has been named as our star for Moon Knight on Disney+. I'm instantly interested in this now.
Yeah, same. I don't know a lot about the Moon Knight character. I know very little. It'll be a fun project that I think they're going to do. I adore Oscar Isaac. I think he's a fantastic actor, and I'm intrigued in anything he's involved in. So I'm in now.
Agreed. And, sticking with those Disney Plus streamers, we've got WandaVision coming. We got Falcon and Winter Soldier. Those are all pretty much done and coming for sure. I'm not sure where we're at with the Loki one, but now we've had this one, Miss Marvel, and even She-Hulk all announced. So we're getting a lot of projects from them moving forward. However, I don't know if you listened to Roy. He talked about it. Tatiana Maslany has come out and said, it's not confirmed that I'm playing She-Hulk. Did you see that?
Crazy. Yeah, crazy,
Which
right?
is weird, because I feel like we totally reported it, and everywhere I read said that she was 100% playing the role. So we'll see if that develops and changes in any way.
Cosmic book news got us again.
Do you have anything else in Marvel-y?
All right, I want to say one thing is that as of right this moment, Spider-Man 3 has begun filming. We kind of said it last week, but then Tom Holland was everywhere on his Instagram and socials saying that he was in Atlanta. They've started filming. They're good to go. Can I predict Tom Holland as a future king of Hollywood?
Oh, I mean, he's already there, I think. With
that high?
With doing Devil All the Time, with doing Spider-Man, with he's releasing the Uncharted pictures finally.
Yes,
he's got that other movie, Cherry, where they're talking about Oscar possible contention. I think he's already there, man. He's getting there.
Yeah, I everything you just said. I just think he's got his career projection is nothing but upward.
Future spotlight artist, dare I say?
Why not, man?
Same with Oscar Isaac. We're gonna have to get to him too.
Oh, we could do Oscar Isaac right now. That's fine. Let's let Holland get a couple under his belt. But yeah, just thinking of. He's not waiting until Spider-Man's done to then be okay. I'm not a kid anymore. I can now do serious stuff. He's freaking doing it now, which I think is bold for anyone in his career because he's supposed to be playing this teenager in these PG movies, but then at the same time, he's like, I'm going to drop these creepy ass movies, on this end, and he's winning. He's winning it. His fans are following every step.
And it goes with the same thing as Pattinson's doing too, and I love that they're casting these kind of actors to play these roles.
Marvel Minute is finished. Time to go forward.
Going forward, super light this week. The only things that I noticed of note was Come Play will be in theaters, limited theatrical release on the 30th. That's the creepy trailer I made you watch with the kid who has Asperger's or something along that line, and he talks to the ghosts through his devices or whatever, remember?
Cool. I'm sure you'll watch
So that is getting a limited theatrical release right in time for Halloween, as well as Truth Seekers on Amazon Prime. This is the new kind of ghostbustery little comedy with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, so I may have time to check that out and give you a first take next week, as well as the big one for the week, Mandalorian Season 2 comes out on the 30th. I know we'll be at least checking out the first episode. I'm guessing we're only getting one, and we will talk about it next week.
Review bomb. Suck it, Mando. You can't give us a whole series to binge. Take Two Podcast Watch. Oh, wait, Saturday Night Live is John Mulaney, right?
Oh, I missed it. I forgot to watch it this week, so I missed who they announced as a host. I don't know. I'll take your word for it.
And the Stripes are the musical guest along
Okay.
with that. Thursday, you will get your poll to vote on, share, try and sway the voters, do as much as you can. Let's see those social sharings for the poll that comes out this Thursday. On Friday, for you Patreon subscribers and only you exclusive Patreon subscribers. Folks, if you feel missing out when I say that sentence, you can be one too, as low as $1 a month. Patreon.com, Take Two Podcast. Jump on there. There are 4 different tier levels you can jump on to. You will get a special horror-filled episode, movies that our favorite horror films from before we were born.
There you
right?
go.
Did I say that
Yep,
right?
There you go. You got
Yes.
it. Yep. We're trying to round out the month here with some special stuff, and that's our little horror episode we're going to give you.
And I would tell you guys this one right now, that I'm putting one movie on my list for the sole purpose that I can and Tony cannot from when he was born.
Nice. Okay.
Saturday, you will be getting a brand new Spotlight. Normally that comes out on Sunday, but we're going to put it on Saturday because Saturday is Halloween. And this guy is also associated with Halloween. That's the only hint you're getting from me. That'll wrap up our horror directors in Halloween month.
Yeah, something like that.
Something to that effect.
I think I was calling it Masters of Horror.
There it is. The Masters of Horror. That'll wrap up. So you will get a Spotlight this weekend, but it'll be out on Saturday, a little bit early for you guys. And don't forget to check out all of our socials all week long. Share the show. Tell your friends. Join that Facebook group page. And, of course, Instagram and Twitter as well.
Yeah, I'm finally going to wrap up on the Universe page with my 40 Days of Horror recommendations. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying that. Some of you have been commenting along, whatever. Reach out and let us know if you've enjoyed that or not. And if you maybe found some movies that were recommended to you, checked it out, enjoyed it, reach out and let me know. Hit up the hotline, text it, email it, do whatever. I just hope that someone was enjoying that because I didn't get a ton of interaction, but a few people were enjoying it, I know.
For episode 211. Have a great night, everybody.
See you.